Hey everyone, Tim here, and welcome to this beautiful day and beautiful videos that has no problems whatsoever. And today we'll talk about toxic positivity. And that is the topic that I found really popular later days when I was watching a couple of videos that were trying to focus on some positive things. And what I noticed is the reception of this like and also not only from the videos but just talking with people and all that not many people have and want to have the positive view and outlook on the world. I get it. We all think that negative things are more motivating, and we all have negative bias towards the world. Like, how can we be okay? How can we be content with something that's happening? Everything is so bad, so we need to fix it. So it's better to be angry, it's better to be like just going at it with high negative energy and pushing back against, like, retaliate back. And that has its merit again. That has some of the energy and that has some of the actions as well. But when it goes against being positive and against positive thinking, that's where I have the problem with it. So this concept of toxic positivity is from what I understand, is from people thinking that, from people actually. So first of all, it is real. It is real for some of the people who are, in face of the problems, choose to not deal with them and just accept and try to convince themselves that everything is okay, and not from a like negative standpoint where, oh, I cannot do anything, I'm helpless, and that's my life now. That probably is more of a point of shame, and yeah, that is a negative view on the world. So its counterpoint is positive toxic thinking, right? Where you think like, oh, something is happening, but it's better to be it's better not to take it so much to heart. It's better, everything will be okay at the end, so I don't need to do anything, and I will just accept whatever comes, and I'll just try to convince myself to be positive and accept whatever. Yes, there is a problem here. But my point here about all of this video, why I wanted to record this, is I see people almost going to war with positive thinking because they are afraid that being positively minded about things, not being so disappointed, angry, and not having a lot of negative feelings about stuff, will make us to be complacent and will make us to not do anything, to stop being actionable. That's what I see. I think what people are afraid of. And that's not definitely true. Just think about it. It's much harder to stay in this positive state forever and not do anything than to stay in a negative state and not do anything forever. Why? Because when you're trying to have this positive mindset and you're not being honest with yourself, so you basically cheating yourself by thinking that way. You're trying to ignore the things that are happening in your life or around you, and you're trying to focus only on the positive moments. You won't be able to keep that up for long. And even if you do, even if you can keep this up, wait, as always, I didn't turn off my communication. So even if you do try to keep that up for long, and if you actually have the resolve and like willpower to do that, if you do, then kudos to you, like, I respect you. But even if you do, it's much harder to get all of the people to think that way and not be actionable, because we all have to face struggles. No matter how good we will think about stuff, no matter how much stuff we will choose to ignore, there will always be something really frustrating happening in our lives, something that we won't want. And that causes us actually to switch to more negative stance. And I get the counterpoint of that, that when you trying to ignore this negative stuff for so long and it kind of pans up, either you just don't do anything or you will just blow up at some point and go retaliate against everything else. And yeah, that can be a problem as well. But just think about what is the counterpoint of this, like fully negative thinking, which a, a lot of us have, which I had, which probably I don't know the statistics, but I would say from my experience, almost every person that I encountered was through that at some point. And it was really hard to come up from that. So the negative thinking can be lifetime, and you won't be able to go off from that. Imagine if you're feeling ashamed about something, you don't even know that it can be different. Or constantly being angry about something. Yeah, it can be actionable for you and for other angry people that join you, which we a lot see in nowadays. But at the same time, you alienate everyone else. People don't want to associate with angry people often, even if they are frustrated themselves. You it's like, and even if we're not talking about the communities, which I would consider is the end goal of these like communities, like positive thinking communities. Everyone wants to be there. Not everyone can stay there, but a lot of people want to make their lives better. But thinking about negative stuff, people usually join these movements of I'm going to oppose everything that I think that is not right now. And you seclude yourselves. You just, and I'm not talking about you specifically, but about people who do that. And it's not the fault, but it's what happens usually. And also, it's much harder to get out from this negative state of thinking because it it is reinforced. Because we tend to notice positive stuff less in our lives than negative. It has this negative bias always about everything that we see. Uh, Especially if we don't try to be much self-aware, it can run us on autopilot. This negative thinking, this just next like catastrophe, some big change event that we don't like, some problem, something. It's just constantly bombarded to us, and we see proof of that in our lives because we see something happening around us, people are angry, people are not satisfied, and then in our life something happens that is quite frustrating. And so we're like, oh yeah, I can totally agree with that, and I will join this angry mob and go like protest about everything. And while that can take action, while that is actionable actually, no pun intended, but it is it is a danger to stay in that state for the whole life and not being able to process these some things that happen in your life. There may be problems with society, with like humanity in general. They can be, there probably are, and they definitely are. But at the same time, when you try to associate with that, you make your life more miserable. And some of the problems that are in your life, of course, they I'm not trying to diminish the hurt that you can feel sometimes, the frustration, the anger, all of this stuff. Our life don't always go our way, and it deserves support and attention as well. But at the same time, much of this stuff can be reasoned with, can be accepted over time, and most importantly, it can be acted upon, and not from the angry state, but from the positive state, like in comparison, something that I want my life to be better, opposed to I don't want my life to be that way. Second one may seem like it has more energy in it, more action in it, and that is true. That is what will cause you to take some action eventually, because you are tired to feel that way. And in anger there is a lot of energy. But at the same time it is not sufficient and it's not consistently sustainable. You cannot keep it up for long. You will get tired. There's energy has to come from somewhere and it doesn't get recharged. And so you can get to the state when you're constantly angry at something but you cannot do anything about it. And that is the problem with negative mentality. From what I've seen from a lot of people, they want to grasp this negative mentality. They don't want to let go of it. And that can be a problem. That is a true problem here. Because from time to time it's good to feel all of the range of emotions and we are always encountering all of the different emotional states. But it's not good to try to make this as your goal, to make this as your mission, because you will encounter it anyway. There is no point of trying to focus on it specifically. But when you try to focus on something positive, when you get even into this toxic positivity mindset where you try to reframe everything as positive, it is better counterbalance. There will always be something negative in your life, even if you try to ignore it, and it will always keep you in check in some way. And eventually it will cause you to take some balanced stance and be actionable. It won't lock you up in desperation and shame for the rest of your life. It can happen with negative thinking. It cannot happen with positive. There may be a frustration that will kick you out of it, but you will still have something good that will be happening in your life when you try to think positively. So that's why I would say there is a third approach to fully negative bias and fully positive bias. There is like an actionable thing. So it's more like a realistic approach, but I wouldn't call it realistic. It's more like positive actionable, where you acknowledge the problems, but instead of just accepting them, you work on them. And this advice, all of my advice, would have even better served as something actionable, as specific steps that you can take to make your life better or to fix some problem or to whatever I'm talking about here. And sometimes I try to do that, but it requires a lot of experience. And so I'm trying to do the next best thing. Try to get you to think positively. As I'm trying to be open with all of my content and trying to share my bad stuff as well, it's not that one-sided, but I always try to steer at the end to have some positive realization coming out of it, because I think that is really important. I think that is what gives you more energy in the long run, that gives you more possibilities to act, that gives you more endurance to overcome the problems that happen with you in life and not break. I think that is really important mentality that you can have. As much positive as you can. I personally don't think there can be a problem with too much positive thinking. It just can't. Not on the scale of society and humanity that we have right now. It's just not possible. There will always be counterbalance of people who will think negatively. As much as I would want, or someone else would want, we cannot make every person think that way. Think more actionably, be aware, and not indulge in negativity and using other people. But at the same time, it's not needed. All is needed for you is to think about what you want your life to be. And I would say, no matter how hard it is, no matter what you think you're missing or giving out, because this negative thinking can be really valuable. You get a sense that you belong to something, you get a sense that you're opposed to something. That can be a really important thing as well. You get a sense of action, you get a sense of purpose. You need to fix this. You need to retaliate at some people, you need to make them pay or something like that. It can take a lot of different forms. There is a lot that negative thinking gives you, and it's hard to let it go. When I only started accepting whatever happens in my life, I thought that, oh, without negative thinking, if I will embrace everything and I will be positive about everything, that I just won't want to do anything at all. I will just become basically a zombie in my life. Like I enjoy everything. Oh, something bad happened. Oh, I enjoy it. Oh, something like car hit me and I lost half of my body. Oh, I enjoy it anyway. Oh, I need like and something will click and in my mind it will be, oh, it's I cannot give anything to the world and I'm only taking resources. Oh, I need to die now. Oh, I'm okay with that. Like I was paranoid about this stuff. I was paranoid that if I will be too positive, there is nothing that will stop me from actually hurting myself. But at the same time, it's not like that. You will always have a priority in your life. You will always do what's the best for you. No matter what you end up doing, you thought that was the best decision. And it is hard to let go of negative things. But I think when you try to have the positive mindset, or you actually having it, when you learn how to have it more time, and if you learn how to have it almost all the time, or your life will be better. You will still act, you will still make your life better because you want it to be better, but at the same time you will enjoy everything, and it will be easier for you to handle any hard stuff that will come upon your life. And that's what we all would like to aim, I would believe, in our lives. To feel better and at the same time to be better over time and be the best versions of ourselves that we possibly can be. And that is what positive thinking gives you. That is why I should recommend to anyone to set their compass to the positive side. Not aim for the negative. It will find you anyway. Counterbalance that with positive thinking. Counterbalance that with finding good in life. In every moment that you are here and that you are alive. no matter what happens. And that will make your life better. So that's what I want to leave you with today. Have fun with your life, make it better, and see you next time.